Charlie was shocked to learn there was no TV and no phone here. Is this a real-life exposure? No one can reach him. A man claiming to be a stockbroker showed up, ready to pitch investment ideas to the old folks. However, the two seniors quickly interrupted him, giving him no chance to sell anything. His flyers were torn to shreds on the spot, and the outcome was predictable. That guy immediately retreated with his head down. Throughout the afternoon, several more salesmen arrived one after another, and as expected, they all encountered the seniors' extremely warm reception. Watching the old casually sipping cold beers, Charlie felt like in paradise. He realized their way to pass time. But with no spare room, Charlie settled for the attic. Though a bit scared, he had no choice but to submit. The attic was a dusty mess, and Charlie tossed and turned in bed, starting to miss the warmth. He doubted the rumor. As he sat up, a key dropped near an old chest. Is it hiding treasures? Charlie successfully opened the chest, but to his dismay, it was filled with sand, and beneath it lay an old photo, clearly no gold inside. The photo had faded a bit, and Charlie was curious about who the lady was when suddenly there was a commotion outside. Old Crane was up to no good again. Curious, Charlie followed and saw him practicing swordplay with a plunger by the lake. Clearly, this old guy was sleepwalking. Charlie and a bunch of dogs watched in disbelief. He slept by the lake until sunrise, concluding the difficult first night. Awakening, Old Crane complained about his uncomfortable new mattress. At the meal, Charlie asked where they had been all these years, but the old men claimed nothing to discuss, with shifty eyes hinting they were hiding something. After the meal, relatives arrived with a sinister plan. Charlie was seen as their rival, and one woman said she knew Charlie's mom well and doubted her return. She suggested sending Charlie to an orphanage, but Old Crane claimed it was his duty. Overhearing, Charlie angrily stomped the glasses guy and stormed out excitedly. Charlie ran kilometers to a phone booth, crying as he dialed Mom's workplace. The reply, no such person. He realized had been tricked. This wasn't the first time he had been abandoned. He had been sent to an orphanage before. The two old men finally found Charlie and asked about his plans. Charlie pointed to Montana on the map, not wanting to return to an orphanage despite not finding his mom. Old guy consoled him softly. As it was getting late, even if he wanted to leave, he would have to wait until tomorrow. After hearing this, Charlie stood up and was ready to go, but Old guy asked him to stay a few more days to help lighten the mood. This way, it could gradually shoo away those annoying relatives. So, Charlie reluctantly agreed to go back with them first. The following day, a clever salesman arrived and immediately raised the white flag upon stepping out of his car. The brothers, however, remained unyielding, prompting Walter to ask in astonishment, "Why don't you take a look at what products he is actually promoting?" They thought it made no sense to have all that money and not spend it, and perhaps out of excessive affection for Charlie, they unexpectedly agreed to check out the salesman's goods. After all, shotgun chased last time. The salesman noticed their love for shooting, bringing a frisbee launcher. As long as you pull the trigger, it would launch a frisbee. Old Crane lit up at the sight of this toy and immediately decided he had to buy it. The relatives nearby saw this dangerous toy and scaredly rolled away home, afraid to let their kids get too close. They finally got rid of their annoying relatives. That night, as Walter was looking at the photo of a pretty lady, a commotion outside indicated Old Crane was sleepwalking again. He always brandished a plunger in the air, as if dueling with an unseen enemy. Sometimes, he quietly stared at the lake, seemingly searching. Walter was about to wake him up when Old Guy stopped him, advising him against it because the consequences could be dire. Later, the two sat by the campfire, with Old Guy warning Walter Old Crane could handle too when he was young. He sought Jasmine, who haunted his thoughts. Walter asked what happened in those 40 years. The little dogs were curious too, and Old Guy had to continue after starting. In 1914, the brothers, tired of their boring life, decided to travel to Europe. They met soldiers at a bar, bonding over drinks and chat. Waking up, they found themselves on a warship to Africa. As World War I broke out, they were forced to join the French Foreign Legion. They went through countless tough battles in North Africa, and Old Crane saved Old Guy many times in the battlefield. They fought side by side through countless hardships. After the war ended, the two chose different paths. Old Guy stayed in Africa as a tour guide, while Old Crane felt bored and began serving the new North African government, halting At that time, he could fight 20 alone. As he reached the climax, Old Crane woke from sleepwalking and asked, enjoying the cool night, "Just think about it and go to sleep." Back in the room, Walter continued looking at the photo, thinking maybe the lady in the picture was the Jasmine Old Guy spoke of. Ever since they bought that frisbee launcher, the two old men seemed to be addicted to shopping. Whenever salesmen showed up at their door, they bought without hesitation. They purchased a whole assortment of seeds and commenced planting crops alongside Walter. However, those two old guys were a bit cheeky. They pretended to munch on the seeds as snacks, and then Old Crane invited Walter to join in. Naive Walter popped the seed into his mouth and felt his stomach churn violently soon after. His body went haywire, throwing up and running to the bathroom. The successful pranksters laughed so hard they could barely stand. To be fair, their crops grew quite well. After some time together, the bond between the three became stronger. Their outfits became more coordinated. One day, Walter found a problem with the crops. Different vegetables grew identical sprouts. The brothers realized they had been duped by the salesman. Just then, a horn sounded, and a truck from the zoo rolled into the farm. It turned out the two old men bought a second-hand lion from the zoo to taste the thrill of hunting, but in the end, they didn't go through with it. Instead, it turned out to be the beginning of Walter owning his very first pet in his life, and he excitedly named the lioness, this adorable little lady, he'll name ye Jasmine. Old Guy became suddenly serious upon hearing that name, recalling some long-lost memories, and he gloomily returned to the house. While buying food for Jasmine, he silently hoisted the bags, refusing any help from others. But just as they were heading home, Old Guy suddenly fainted. After Walter and Old Guy brought him to the hospital, they resumed storytelling about their time in Africa. Old Guy had rescued slaves back then, including a local princess handmaiden. After returning, she told the princess all about Old Guy's heroics in Africa, and the princess was eager to meet this legendary hero. One day, while riding by the beach, Old Guy was interrupted by a man in black catching up. He was competitive and wouldn't be overtaken. So the two of them immediately began a race. Everyone put in their best effort, and the dust rising from the racetrack seemed to bear witness to their legend. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.